Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Kyle, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Quick impromptu little interview we're going to do here with a local business leader because you started your own company now. Landscaping.
Yes,
Evolution
sir.
Lawnscape. I like that. Evolution Lawnscape. Right here, based out of the St. Louis, St. Charles area, Lake
Yep.
St. Louis.
Yep.
Why did you decide to start a company for landscaping? You're young. You told me his real age, everybody. I won't say it on camera here. Knows his stuff. Very smart guy here. Why did you decide to get in this kind of industry?
Oh, one of those kids that's been doing it since day one. Just took off. I started out as a kid mowing the grass, did the neighbors, did the one down the street, and here we are now. Grows fast.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. And if you look at what he's put together, you got a great looking fan page. We got some of that. I'll go back out here, take a look, everybody, see some of the work. Doing well, great looking work. Starting your own business is a bit of a leap, though. Not everybody does that at your age. Why? Come on, tell me, give me the goods. Why did you say?
No,
you saw what other people were doing.
So I went to high school during COVID, and right outside of COVID, we go to the community college. Missouri has a great program. They'll pay for your community college if you keep a certain grade point average and attendance through high school. So during COVID, they said all online class. I was like, this is a great opportunity. We'll do both at the same time here. So we opened up the business while going to school online, and can't complain. Can't complain at all.
Well, I tell you, people like you that make the world go round, because I don't know how many people like to start a business when they're in their 30s or their 40s, but not at your age. I'm impressed. That's really cool. What led you to that, to say I want to start a business specifically? I mean, were you just as a kid, you're like, I want to own my own company someday? Or did you just see where other people struggled because they worked for somebody else? What was it kind of led you there?
There's a couple of reasons. I had a couple of people from a young age, that own businesses really sponsor me and say, this is the right way to go. Do it. Don't. If you ever want to have freedom, you can't be working for somebody else. So that, and the opportunity was there, right? And that's one of the keys is if there's opportunity, be in the right position to take it. And the opportunity was there, and I took it. That's for sure.
Okay, so why'd you end up with landscaping? And I'll say specifically. We jokingly say, how many people say Pacifically? Specifically, why did you decide landscaping was what you wanted to do?
Well, that's already kind of what I was doing, like I said, from day one. And it started out in mowing, and it's grown tremendously from there. It's
Sure.
Mowing's actually a smaller portion of the business now.
Okay.
You just kind of learn as you go, and you can't push the buttons that don't want to be pushed, right? So when there's, like I said, when there's opportunity to grow, that's what we do. So we started mowing and found different opportunities and grew those ways.
An interesting strategy you have there that I've actually discovered. We talked to another landscaping guy not too long ago, and he mentioned you start off with mowing.
Yep. Yeah.
That's how you get to know the owners. Like, the hardest part in business, everybody, if you haven't figured this out, is getting them to trust you, right? Well, Cardinal Cowboy, I've been running around doing this for 20-something years. By now, people go, I know where to find that guy if there's ever a problem. I've been fortunate. Have I had a couple difficult situations with people that were less than scrupulous, or scrupulous? How do you say that? But yeah, they took advantage of my relationship and what I will do. But it always pays off, because those guys snuff themselves out and peter out and end up having to move to a different city or whatever. But this is where I live and breathe. This is where you get to develop that. So now you're starting at a young age, developing something you've learned. Where do you think you got your best mentorship from that kind of led you to this path?
Oh, there's many. There's a lot over the years, that's for sure. There's ones that, do better with helping you start a business. There's a couple that had local businesses in the area. And then there's some that help you grow as well. There's different people to show you the ropes at different times. So yeah, I've had a lot. That's for sure. A lot of different.
Well, and that's kind of. I was curious, because this is kind of an impromptu meeting. My assistant Dawn calls, "Hey, we need to talk to somebody," and Dawn sometimes is a little ahead of what I'm working on, and we have a sponsor now. So shout out to our sponsor. I'm going to show this up on the screen too, but My Metal Pro, and if you are interested in learning about precious metals, My Metal Pro is a great resource. I'll put this up on the screen for everybody there. But my buddy Curtis is my mentor, if you will. So he has allowed me to become a distributor, an agent with him, and to help us to share with people what the whole world needs to learn. I had no idea there was so much to learn about precious metals. So shout out to them, My Metal Pro. Check them out, mymetalpro.com, and we'll get some more information there. Clicks Pro, obviously that's what we work with and help people, businesses, small businesses, to automate their business. And so we've kind of got a whole system here to help highlight business leaders like yourself. So with that, Kyle, what's the long-term path? I mean, is this something you really believe could be something you do for the rest of your life? I mean, what do you think?
It's a question I get a lot, right? How long do you think you can mow? That's my dad's famous question. He's like, how long do you think you can mow for? And, you know, that's a question that needs to be there, but it's also a question as an entrepreneur that it doesn't matter right now to me. It's because I'm focused on what I'm doing today and what I'm doing tomorrow. And that's the most important, because there's always going to be avenues you can go down. There's always business you can start. Like you said earlier, people are starting businesses in their 30s and 40s. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. Then there's an opportunity to get a day job too, is what I call it. There's always places you can resort to. That's for sure.
Resort to. It's not like a resort. It's like a last resort. I worked in corporate America for 10 years. I worked for big corporate companies. I loved it. I got paid. I was making a 6-figure income when I was 27 years old, running the email systems for the largest brewing company in the world. And then I realized, like, my life might be stuck in this cubicle / and I didn't mind that, really. It was good where I was at that time in my life, and I made a lot of money and did well. But I felt like I needed more. I needed to feel as though I enjoyed my existence on this planet. Somebody's been through a coma. Right. Somebody who's lucky to be alive. If you guys know my story, check it out, cardinalcowboy.com. You can get lots more information about that. But I wish I had started earlier, like I was when your age. No, and tell me why you think that might have led you where you're at so soon.
Yeah, you learn really young. A lot of things, from insurance to knowing your lawyers, your bankers, your financial advisors. You learn things really fast, and there's pros and cons. You know, you don't grow up too fast, but at the same time, they're good things to know. So there's. Can you restate your question again?
Yeah, well, I mean, what kind of just this path that kind of guided you to where you're at long term? Right. And you got it started. What? I don't even remember what the question was, but I'm just interested in the discussion you have, because I'm kind of awestruck, if you will. Right. Somebody had started and had the insight to go this path. You start talking right there about what you learned so quickly. Insurance. I mean, this is stuff most people get up, go to work, show up for their job. 5 o'clock rolls around, they're out the door as soon as the clock hits 5 o'clock. They're not invested in that company. Right. But you became invested in this because of your long-term future you were looking at, and you learned so much. That was the question. Well, how do you think you learned so much to give you this insight to start something that, like, there's people, I guess, that have started business at a younger age than you, but not a whole lot.
Well, it's props to everybody that starts a business, for sure. That's the hardest part's getting started. If you didn't know that, that's the hardest part.
That's what I talk about.
Is getting started, and then from there, it's like, for me, I just enjoy a challenge. It doesn't have to be lawn care, landscaping, property management. It's anything. If there's a challenge there, I'm up for it, and I'm eager to get going. And those relationships, like I said earlier before I reinstated the question, was all those relationships are vital to every business. It doesn't matter which one you're in. Some of them more than others, right? Once you start getting to the point I'm at in business, a financial advisor and your accountants are really handy, because you start looking at your margins, and your acquisition costs, and you got to go from there. And are we making money or are we not making money in this business?
Absolutely. Wow, he's talking about the big, heavy, hard questions you've got to get into, and we're kind of going off the cuff here. I would say one of my favorite questions to ask is, when somebody, in your case, specific to landscaping, Lawnscape, I like that, landscape, I got you. Some people call it hardscapes.
Hardscapes, yeah, it's the terminology. Everybody throws it around.
But is that more cement that ties in with some landscaping?
Patios,
right?
Patios, stuff like that,
Pools and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
We've had a couple guys on here to talk about that stuff. I mean, the margins are there. Go figure out. Everybody generally in the world has to have at least about a 25-35% margin on their product, their service, or else they can't stay in business, right?
Yep.
And they got to pay everybody, and give kudos to the people who do start businesses, because you're giving employment to many people who work for you that don't want to take the risk of running a business and potentially failing. I'll ask this question then along those lines. I'm off my beaten path here, but you already came up with a good solution. The risk is not, I would say, have you heard this? The risk is to not start a business.
That's a business leader's mindset. That's what I actually, on the way here, I was thinking about that. I was like, if you're a business-minded individual, and not everybody is, and there's a spot for everybody in this world, trust me, there is. But for a business-minded individual, the person that's owning the company, it scares me more to not make the money than it does to make the money. Like, I want that challenge to go make that money.
And I agree with that from the perspective that literally, like, my risk is that it fails.
Right.
And I've got to start over.
You gotta
and
start
what
over.
do? I go get a job.
Yep.
I've got some pretty advanced
Or you
skills.
start over.
Right, start over. I've got some pretty advanced skills that are definitely going to be in desirable with regard to production and editing, marketing, and all the stuff I do. Likewise, you're going to have skills to run a business that at least you know the in and outs of. Businesses fail for no particular reason sometimes because of the economy, because of things outside their control. Yep. But you get that experience by knowing that not just handle your one niche, that's a product, that service that you're providing to a customer, but how to run to make the whole machine work. Yep. All the way from insurance, investments.
You made great points there. Like, one of your points is that you have to cut.
That's all right. Keep on going. But I mean,
one of your points is that you learn how to run a business, and that's for mowing people. There's a lot of mowing people that fail. That it's just because they don't know their business. Yeah. That's the reason they fail.
Sure. And they think they know how to cut grass, but there's so much more involved.
Right. Well, that's when I say there's a spot for everybody in this world. Somebody that's really good at cutting grass, hey, I got a job for you. I'll tell you what. Right. And all you got to do is cut grass. Right. And there's a spot for that person. Now there's a spot for a person that's a little bit more free thinking. How can we cut grass more efficiently? How can we cut grass faster? How can we cut more grass? There's a spot for everybody. Yep. And that's being a free thinker. You need a little bit of that to kind of make sure you cover all your bases to be a successful business.
Wow. I mean, I have great faith in our country's future. Hearing a young man like Kyle here talk about this, because literally, Rybak, right, as I said?
Yep, yes, sir.
Kyle Rybak, providing high-quality outdoor services, Evolution Landscape and Outdoor Services. And I gave him a couple tips about his website. We'll talk about that at some point after the show. I'll give you some more about that. But you can find him on Facebook out here and do your search, Evolution Lawnscape and Outdoor Services. And already, I'm very busy with what you're doing. Had a few minutes in between jobs to stop by the studio here today. Appreciate you doing that. As we finish up here, we'll make this a 15-minute segment. Business has always been so intriguing to me, and it was Alex Hormozy. I quote him a lot, but he's using tactics that I use. I've got a couple things to go a couple levels above what he's done, that he's at least talked about publicly. I just got a call from his company. We're going to work together maybe on some stuff. We'll talk about it. I said, hold on, I think this is coming from Mr. Alex Hormozy, not himself, but as one of his supporters. And so, but literally, the gamble you take in today's environment is not taking the chance.
100%.
Because you end up waiting, and I saw it happen to my father, and that's why I became so motivated. Right. He ended up working for a university for 53 years. Right. And one day they just decided, we're going to change.
Whether you're scared about interest rates or whatever, that's part of business. That's part of it, and it never stops. You got to take it and run.
You got one shot to make it of the man, or like Eminem's quote there, whatever it is.
Right.
You got one shot at this thing, and you don't want to wait till you're 40, 50, 60.
You don't want to wait. And it only gets harder when you wait, right? You got more things you gotta break ties with. You got more things that are on the line if it doesn't work out.
That is so true. Well, I would advocate anybody go out there, try to start a business, listen to some of the expertise here. Check out Clicks Pro. Give a shout out also then to our friends over at My Metal Pro. Put them back up here on the screen for everybody to take a look at. But if you'd like to learn more information there, get a hold of me, Cardinal Cowboy. I can help you with that. But there you can see my contact information. Just Google search Cardinal Cowboy. Most of what they say about me is true. And we look forward to talking to you guys some more. We'll be back in just a little bit, everybody. Giddy up.